A very good morning to all my dear friends. I am Prashant Mamani. I hope you all are doing good. Today is 27th May 2020 and I would like to start today's discussion with this quote by Buddha. Do not dwell in the past. Do not dream of the future. Concentrate the mind on the present moment. Is this thing achievable, possible? Yes, it is achievable. It is possible. It is all about practice. The more you practice this thing, the better you will get with it. The most important thing is that whenever you find yourself in future or in the past, please do not resist or do not get angry on yourself for being in past and future. Consciously, very politely, very, in a very embracing way. Just embrace the fact that it's okay. It's okay that you were in past or you are in future now or you were in future. The thing is that you have identified that you were in past or future and now you are in present. By just accepting this thing, you will feel a change. And the more you practice, the better you will get with it. That's everything as far as motivation is concerned with this, dear friends. StudyIQ has designed a smart course. This smart course is designed by some of the best faculties of our country. They have kept in mind the necessity, the requirement of Civil Services Examination. To find out more about it, do download our mobile application. Till 31st May, you can get the benefit of this EMI plan, so make the most out of it. I have already shared the lecture of the PDF of today's lecture on my Telegram channel. You can get in touch with me via Facebook. You can follow me on Facebook. This is my Facebook page. Please make sure that you share this lecture with other students. Hit the like button and please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Dear friends, on our table we have total 5 articles. First 3 are from the Hindu newspaper. Then we have one from Times of India and the last one is from Indian Express. The first one is about oil price pickle. I'm sure we all are aware about the fact that at present global oil price is down, isn't it? It's very down, and one of the main reason is there is no demand. And few weeks ago we were talking about this whole business, right? We were talking about some basic things about this business of oil production or oil extraction. So you have your setup and then technical things are there, so you cannot altogether stop oil production, right, automatically, or you have to maintain a sort of quantity. That quantity will come out every single day because of this whole complicated setup. We are not going into the detail of how it works. So oil supply is, you can say, static, and demand has dropped because of this coronavirus-led lockdown in various different parts of the world. So naturally, the price of oil is down. Now, we would expect, because in India for a very long period of time, right, we have paid a huge price for oil. When I say huge price, I mean to say oil is very expensive in our country. If you see USA, if you see some African countries, they are paying, 10 rupees or less than that for a liter of oil. When I say oil, I'm talking about fuel, petrol and diesel and things. And here we pay 70 rupees or more than that. So of course, it is a very expensive product, but this expensive product, which is normally, in normal times, it's a necessary product that all of us use directly, indirectly on a regular basis. But because of this lockdown and things, the demand of this product is nearly at the bottom. So the price has gone down, and we would expect that government should chop its price, because if you compare the global oil price to the closing amount of 2019, it is 45% lower than it used to be. So just imagine that if, let's say, if per barrel price was $50, just for argument's sake, then today it is somewhere around $25, right? So we should see a same cut in our local or domestic price. Like we are paying somewhere around 70 plus rupees. Of course, it is different in different parts of our country. But on an average, let's say 70 rupees, then we should expect a 35 rupees cut in this oil price. But government is not doing this thing because government wants to make the most out of it. Right? There is a big, the more the difference of actual price and, sales price, the bigger the gap, that means the more tax or the more money that government can make. And at present, I think I will agree with the government that the government should make more money. Government should, because overall revenue of a central government is nearly blocked, isn't it? Disinvestment will not take place. GST collection will be down. Indirect tax collection will be down. So the easy low-hanging fruit is this oil, and there are some other items as well. So our petroleum minister Dharmendra Pradhan, he has said that government wants to keep a fine balance between fuel price and the necessity of people, but at the same time government has to look after the welfare of our country, welfare of our society. So this is the reason that government is not going to cut down the price. Government is going to make the most out of this tax or this excise duty that it collects on petrol and diesel, and it will use this money for development of our country, because we know that we are going through a very tough time because of this coronavirus-led lockdown. One interesting point that I would like to, of course, discuss here, we should discuss this thing here, that back in 2018 when the price was going up, at that point of time government slashed price, or government slashed excise duty to control this retail price of fuel, because elections were not that far. General election that took place in 2019 was not that far when this global crude price was going up. So government was able to take decision that point of time. Why government is not, of course, not lowering the price of fuel is also a decision, but the argument is that if you lower the price, that means when fuel price goes down, right, transportation cost will go down. When transportation cost will go down, that means inflation will come down. Inflation come down means production chances may increase. When prices comes down, right, the demand of that particular product, or generally speaking every product, can go up. So that means more production will be required for various different products and services, because prices are down, demand going up. When more production is required, you need more people to work for you. When you have more people working for you, that means you are creating jobs. When you are creating jobs, that means people are getting, or they are having a reliable source of income. When they have reliable source of income, they will spend after food, electricity, and so many other things. And this will create an overall demand. So it will give that pace to this wheel of economy. So this is an argument government should think about it. But I think because of this whole COVID-19 situation, and we know that lockdown is going to stay on and off for a bit of time, and even if lockdown goes away, right, so many people are going to work from home. So overall demand of automobile industry and fuel will be down. So this is the best time that government should make the most out of whatever it can get, this low-hanging fruits basically. Moving on to next item, very interesting article. This one is about reforms in courts. Now, a few weeks ago we have talked about e-courts. Remember how this thing can be a game changer, how it can change the way things are going on as far as courts and cases are concerned in our country. Now, this article is interesting because this one is saying that video conferencing at present it is going on, but it is not going to change everything until and unless you revamp your procedural law. Even if you create a whole IT infrastructure, that's not going to change things forever, or you will not get that 100% result until and unless you change this, revamp this procedural law. The biggest problem with our courts is that, even today, a significant time of daily proceedings is taken up by the cases where only adjournments are sought for procedural matters like filing of replies and things. So it's too much time consuming, right? Someone has to attend a marriage function and the court will be asked to adjourn the case and give a new date. So this sort of silly things should be chucked in the bin. What we need to do is, once we have this e-platform, right, then we can do this thing that we can create a system where only those cases will get listed, the cases regarding which all documents are filed. When you are when everything that is related to that case, if you file everything, then only that case will get listed, right? And we have this whole back office in the courts, right? They have this court is not just run by advocates and judges. You have other staff as well. You have research staff, and there are so many other people. So we can create this tiny teams, right? Neo teams. They can go through this required documents and everything. And when everything is okay, then only that case will be listed for hearing. And when things are back to normal, let's say, then we can take 20 to 30 cases, only those cases that are ripe for arguments. You cannot like come to court and ask for that you want time to file this document and that document. This all things should be, should be deleted. We need to add only those processes that are fast, that are efficient and effective, right? Then we have a problem of SLP, that is special leave petitions. 60 to 70% of Supreme Court's docket is filled up with this SLPs. The Supreme Court Rules 2013 should amend provisions pertaining to SLPs. Article 136 of the Constitution enables people to file a petition seeking leave to appeal a decision of any judicial or quasi-judicial authority. So basically, you can climb up the stairs. A session court says something, you can go to the higher court, then you can go to high court, then you can go to Supreme Court. So the problem is, even small matters are reaching to Supreme Court. Supreme Court was never intended to be a court of appeal, right? It was the high courts or the high court where you go for final appeal, right? Everything is over till high court. But now, because of this SLP, now it is being misused as well. And see how much misuse takes place. 80 to 90% of SLPs are dismissed. That means only 10 to 20% of such cases raise important questions. So what we need to do is we can filter this SLPs. We can create this team of judicial research assistants made up of qualified lawyers. The court should create a team where this SLPs will be filtered. Only the necessary ones will reach the courtroom. When I say courtroom, I mean to say that there are so many things that you can sort out in chambers as well, right? So you don't need to waste a court's time. You can do those things in chambers as well. It's like the office of the judge, something like that. So these are the things. If we don't do these things, then e-platform is not going to deliver that result, that imaginary result or this ideal result that we want to see. If we want to see that, we need to change so many things with the court. And these things are achievable, right? It's not impossible. It is possible. All you need is good stakeholders. You can have best judges, you can have best lawyers, you can have some other stakeholders, you can get police personnel and other departments and other people and people working in court. Get all of them on board, the best minds, right? Creative minds, best ones, get them on board, create a committee and recommend these things and start with a pilot project. If things are, let's say, if you find success in 1 or 2 courts, then you can implement this pan India, and this will change everything in our country. Moving on to next item, very interesting one, how India can become self-reliant. I was just looking at something else. Anyway, right. So this one is quite interesting. This article is interesting because if you go back in our history, when I say history, I mean to say before independence, we know that the whole show was under the ownership of British Raj. But after independence, I'm not sure how many of you are aware about this thing, but India was doing quite well in terms of technology, right? We were quite ahead in terms of modernizing our industries, and we were climbing at a very fast pace. But then came 70s and 80s. We were so satisfied. We were happy with whatever little we achieved. We thought like we have achieved everything. And then in future, all the things that we have, this will lead us to a good growth and development of our country. But we were wrong, because we were not ready to change with the time, right? When we got independence, we were quite visionary, but after that the nation became lethargic. Big companies were run by, we had so many of public sector undertakings, PSUs, so government companies run by bureaucrats. You have permanent jobs. If you don't perform, it doesn't matter. Your salary will increase every year, and you will climb up the ladder of this hierarchy every few years. So there was no motivation for these people to run the show, and they started misusing their facilities. And so I'm not saying everyone, But overall, you know how slow our government offices and or government companies are. Private companies, right, they were not interested in investing huge amount of money. In fact, they were in this luxury cocoon of monopoly. They were in this monopoly cocoon, right? They had this monopoly and they were protected. They were living in a protected market. So there was no competition from best players or foreign companies. So they were doing okay. They were living in this tiny world. But then after this liberalization, privatization, globalization, they realized that so many things have changed in the world. And by the time this whole liberalization, LPG 1991 was introduced, we were already too late. We have basically missed those golden decades of Industry Revolution 3.0. So here is a quick timeline. 1784 around, it was industrialization 1.2 or 1.0. Then Industry 2.0, this was about mass production. Then automation, computers, electronics, electronic goods, microprocessors, personal computers, mobile phones, global value chain, manufacturing, global value chain, etc. And now our one leg is here and one leg is here in Industry 4.0. So we have missed literally Industry 3.0, and this is the reason why we are not a global manufacturing hub, right? Simple as that, because we were not ready to take challenges. We were not ready to modernize ourselves. And this whole concept of modernizing was thrown into the last bench. It was believed that if you want something, right, self-reliance, forget about self-reliance. If you want something, buy it from somewhere else, right? Import that car, import that mobile phone, import that telephone, import that television, import everything was the main thing. So anything high technology, import it. Low technology, okay, sort of quality, yes, we are making those things here. So this was our attitude for a very long period of time. And this is the reason why you find countries like Israel, right? They're self-reliant on defense, on agriculture, on so many other things, because they have created this culture that why to depend on someone else about those things that you can produce at your home. So PSUs were large and incapable in our country, and private sector, they were not ready to invest. It means they lack this culture of R&D and high-tech manufacturing. They're ready to do assembling and all these things. And you can see our brands. How many international brands India has created? Can you name few? I hardly remember anything that is like, apart from this yoga and other things. These are our brands, of course. But as far as latest products and things are concerned, I truly cannot remember anything. We have countries like Japan, South Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, Hong Kong. Like South Korea was in a very bad position around 50s. It had just finished a war with North Korea. They had this Korean war, and it was not doing that great. Japan, again, the same thing after World War II. But now you see these countries, they are right at the top of the game. The reason is they have invested in education, they have invested in research and development, and above all, they have created this culture of research and development. We spend some 1% or less than 1% after R&D. They are spending 3 to 5%. They are not obsessed with ranks or numbers. How many marks I have got in maths or science and things. This is not their cup of tea. What they are interested in is what are the new things that you can make, how good you are with something, you know. So this is something that we need to change. Attitude is something that we need. I'm not reading out the script of Three Idiot film here, but this is a reality. I strongly believe that India lacks this thing. We don't like failure. We don't like failure means we are so much afraid of failure that we are not trying. You know, that's a very bad thing. Fear of failure, that's okay. That will keep you up. That will keep you awake. But if you are so much, afraid of this fear of failure that you don't even try, that itself means that you are failed, or you have failed. Your life is failed. Your nation is failed because you are not trying these things. So we need this culture of failure. We should learn from failure. We should be able to digest failure. And this is something I think which is missing. See China. China was once upon a time was famous or infamous for producing low-end mass manufacturing items. But today, China is part of global supply chain. It is making high-tech products. China has set a goal for itself for 2035. China wants to see itself as a world leader by 2035 in 5G, in supercomputing, Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, autonomous vehicle, biotech, pharma, so many things. So China basically wants to dominate Industrial Revolution 4.0 by 2035. And there are so many other areas, means we can exploit and explore these areas. India can explore, like electric vehicles, fuel cell vehicles, electricity storage systems, solar cells, and aircraft, including UAVs, AIs, robotics, automation, biotech, pharma. There are so many things, right? We can do research, but for that we need a fresh pair of eyes, right? We need a altogether new vision. The interesting thing about the latest stimulus package is that it's not just stimulus package, right? It's not just a raw stimulus package. It is enveloped with some reforms, and this is a very important thing. Some bold reforms, to be precise. We have also seen that a few states like Uttar Pradesh, then you have Gujarat, and then you have Karnataka, they have changed their laws. Like Uttar Pradesh and Gujarat, they have made drastic changes with labor laws. Uttar Pradesh has diluted labor laws for some 1,000 days, Gujarat for some 1,200 days and things like that. So, and Karnataka has made some changes with their land laws. What it is all about, I'll throw light on this thing, land laws, in a minute. As far as agriculture is concerned, you know that Essential Commodities Act, I'm not going into the details of this thing because I believe of course I have discussed these things, but I believe that you guys are well aware about these changes, right? Particularly regular students. So we know the latest changes of Essential Commodities Act, and then you have this agriculture marketing legal framework for farmers to engage with processors, aggregators, large retailers, exporters. So these are big reforms. These are deep and wide reforms, and these things are going to change the situation for the farmers. But if we think that this alone will bring all our farmers out of poverty, then I think we are making a mistake. The reason is 48% of all land holdings, average size is 0.23 hectare. 0.23 hectare. This is a very tiny piece of land. So you can barely survive on this thing. So the first thing that we need to do is we need to change labor laws. And at the same time, we need to create jobs for our farmers in industry and services in secondary and tertiary sector. The first step should be that our farmers should be able to exit this agriculture market or this agriculture business. How they can do it? They can lease this piece of land that they have to a company or to anyone they like, right? So this is the thing, and that's what Karnataka has done. Karnataka has diluted land laws. So they have reformed this laws so that basically Karnataka allows farmers to convert land from agriculture to non-agriculture use and sell it at market price. So this is first step. Now I think it's okay. In few places you have to allow farmers to change their agriculture land into non-agriculture land, but here as well we have to be a bit careful because we don't want too much of our agriculture land to be converted into non-agriculture, because once you construct something on that piece of land, then once agriculture land is converted into non-agriculture, not just on paper but on the field, then you cannot revert it. You cannot make it agriculture land again. As far as I know, that's how it works. So we have to be very careful. We have to plan properly. But there should not be too much of rigidities, right? Nowadays what happens is, or so far what has happened is, that if you want to convert your agricultural land into non-agricultural land, then you have to bribe people, and it is a very lengthy process. So make it a bit easy. The reason why you need to make it easy is that, first of all, if you have proper labor contract laws, if you are a farmer, let's say if you have a small piece of land, then you are not going to spend your money, whatever you have, you are not ready to spend this money for court cases, isn't it? So if we create a system where this piece of land, you can, let's say you are A, you are the owner, the B is interested party, so you can have a contract with this person, and this person will pay you a rent or a lease, right? He or she will take, or this company will take piece of land from you for 10 years, from 12 years, 15 years, based on your both's requirement. And once you enter into contract, then if contracts are enforced properly, then farmer will be headache free whenever he wants. If something goes wrong, then he can always have his claim, or he can always has his piece of land back to him. So this is missing. So we need to do this thing. This will push the farmer out of this agriculture boundary. And then on the other side, if we create good jobs in industry and services, then that will be a pull factor. So push and pull factor, you have to work on both things. We need to replace China as a manufacturer or manufacturing hub, and we can do these things only if we make proper necessary reforms. We have to understand this thing as well, that no shock so far has been capable to bottle up trade for a very long period of time. If we go through the history of Black Death pandemic, Spanish flu, Great Depression, 9/11, global financial crisis, etc., then we find that for short time or few years maybe things will be down, but after that it will bounce back. That's what the world will do. That's what we will do as human beings. We will bounce back, isn't it? So economy will bounce back in near future. We have to be optimistic and not pessimistic about this thing. And reforms, right? Reforms in capital. Your banks are going to be under stress in near future because of this loans and other things. So in future we have to recapitalize our land. Labor laws, as I have already said, that some states they have implemented. Now we need a proper broad central law on this thing. And land as well. Land is very expensive too. So make it a bit easier for the companies too, so that they feel to invest and purchase land here. Moving on to next item. This one is about COVID-19. It's more about our strength, the strength that about which we are not aware about. Back in history, if we go back 1 or 2 decades, then we find that India has done quite well in fighting this disease called AIDS. And it looks like we have forgotten or dismissed the fundamentals of that success already. The reason why India was able to beat AIDS, or when I say beat, I mean to say to control AIDS in our country, was because we created a proper strategy, right? The most vulnerable and marginalized were taken on board. This whole AIDS strategy, everyone, government, bureaucrats, physicians, your nurses, right? This employers, NGOs, they started talking about sex, sexuality, illness, law, this sort of topics. A few of them, like sex and sexuality, these topics were quite taboo topic. But these people, they started discussing these things. They started discussing these things with people who were part of this whole game, like people who are running these brothels, prostitutes, gay people, those who are drug users, right? All of them. Then you have this transgender community. Everyone, every stakeholder was taken on board, and thorough discussions took place. I'm talking about fighting AIDS thing. So this created an enabling environment in health sector, and then this was reflected in policy making. Then this was reflected in the social efforts, ad campaigns and everything. Celebrities started taking part in this thing. So it became part of our society, and it was not a taboo topic anymore. As far as coronavirus is concerned, right, we can have health workers, sanitation workers, police personnel, we can have people with comorbidities, senior citizens, daily wage or migrant laborers. We need to take urban poor, women, everyone, right? We need to take them on board, and we need to create a strategy that should be bottom-up approach. Things should not be coming from top to down. It should be going from bottom to up. Like, what's the ground reality here? What are the things? And this is the thing. It doesn't matter how expert you are in a particular field. if you are if you are watching things from ivory tower, then you will miss that thing, that practical grassroots level thing. So for that you need those people who are part of that grassroots. That is very important for best implementation. So if we take on board all these people who are part of this grassroots, then we can change the way things are going on as far as coronavirus fight is concerned. And that's basically everything in today's discussion, dear friends. This is the PDF, as you can see, right? You can download the PDF and go through the news items. And I'll see you soon. Till then, enjoy your studies. God bless you all. Jai Hind.